Hey guys, how's it going? It's Jesse, the Couch Movie Critic, and once again, we're back in the kitchen. And today we're not doing a review, we're not doing a hands-on, we are not doing an unboxing, we are doing a versus video. And what today's versus video is, Funko Pop Stacks versus the soft protectors that we all get. Pretty much going to go over some of the pros and cons. I even show you guys how to insert a pop into them, what they look like, and so on. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's get on right to it. So here we are, guys. This is a Funko pop stack, or stacks as we call them, and the soft protectors, which are soft plastic protectors. And let's talk a little bit about the differences, and then we'll talk about the pros and cons. Biggest difference that we have is tensile strength. The pop protectors or stack protectors are polycarbonate acrylic plastic. They are much, much harder and much denser. They definitely are a harder, stronger protection when you're moving or traveling with the device, or if you're in a place where you're risking dropping it. If you're going to like a con to get something signed, I would probably say this would be the case. If you're going somewhere to buy an exclusive that's hard to get your hands on, this would be what you use. They are also stackable. There's a groove in the top lid that syncs up with the bottom lid that allows for them to be stackable. Now let's talk a little bit about the soft case. The soft case are plastic. They are flexible, as you can see, but they do the job of protecting the device. In a long distance fall, they will not protect the pop. I can guarantee you that. I've seen it happen. But it adds a layer of defense for day-to-day stuff. It's more for shelf use, where you're worried about somebody knocking them along the shelf, not so much as off the shelf. And let's talk about the pros and the cons of each one. Now, the Funko Pop, the pros, obviously, as I mentioned earlier, is that it's much harder. It is stackable. It travels better. Cons on the thing is that it will crack. As I showed in my other video, Hot Topic is actually shipping them in a cardboard box inside of a shipping box. And the reason for that is that they were prone to cracking, having cracked chips here along the lines, getting fissure lines along the seams, things along those lines, if they were hit hard enough, and especially when they're empty. Another con to them is it is a pain in the butt to get a Funko in and out of them. And just to prove the point, I'm going to show you, and I'll be showing it to you with the soft protector, what it's like to get one in there. So you take the lid off, and as you can see, right, it's a pain in the butt to unsnap it, but you get it out. Once you get it in, you have to make sure you line up your Funko and go ahead and slide them on in. Now, the biggest thing you have to be careful is you're using the hard stack, because you got to be careful of the edges as you slide, especially these edges here of the box, because since it is difficult, you kind of have to make sure that they squish on the way in, because if you don't, you'll actually damage the box. And I say this because my first hard stack that I used was for my Man of Steel Superman, and I actually damaged the box. I wound up having to go and flip a couple pops and get another one, and it turned the whole thing. And luckily I sold off the other one, so it worked out to somebody who was out of box, so it was no big deal. But as you saw, it's not the easiest thing to get them in place and get them out. To get them out, it's even hairier. You're usually better off snapping both ends off and kind of gently pushing from one side to the other. So it does have its cons, but protection-wise, it's fantastic. Display-wise, it's fantastic. I mean, it really is a great, great protector when it comes to that. Now let's go ahead and let's talk a little bit about the plastic protectors and the pros and cons. Pros, it does a job of some basic protection. It does keep dust off of it. It also keeps, when you have more than one pop stacked on each other, from the actual ink rubbing off from one to the other. So it does its basic jobs. Some of the cons, as I mentioned earlier, it's soft. It's not going to take a hard hit. And for anybody who's never actually put one of these together, when they first come, they come flat and flattened out. They are obnoxiously difficult to get flattened out and get the corners right. There's a whole process to it that involves folding corners, flattening corners, folding in lips. I mean, it's just a whole deal that you have to go through. And even to get them in, is you have to flex out the tabs so you can get them in. And let me show you what I mean about difficulties in getting them in. If you don't have the ears here folded up, what will happen is it'll catch on the box and it'll actually damage the edges of your box. So if we go ahead and put the new one in, we got to be real careful. Flex out the wings on the edge, flex out the top lid, and slide it in. But simultaneously, you need to be cautious, because you have the same problem that you could run into with the hard stacks, that'll catch the lip of the box and damage it. And then you got to make sure you fold the crease, otherwise you got a puffy top, which makes for a pain in the butt when you're trying to stack these bad boys. And then last but not least, because of this tongue here that has to be tucked in. You need to be mindful, because if you're not careful, you could actually stab and ruin the top of the box there as well too. Now, once it's in, it's a heck of a lot easier than a pop stack. As you saw, putting it in the soft protector is definitely easier. You got to coordinate a couple more things, but once it's in, it's in. Getting it out is even easier. As long as you can get the tab and groove out here where it pops out without damaging the actual box, it's turn it over and it slides right out. So it actually is much, much easier there. Now, it's much, much easier there. Now, as far as which you prefer, which is better, my opinion, I prefer the pop stacks, but cost-wise, it's almost prohibitive. You know, you can get 20 soft protectors with a free 6-inch protector and a free 2-pack protector for about $20 on eBay or Amazon. Some cases you won't get the 6-inch and the 2-pack, but you'll get 20 of them for give or take roughly anywhere from $20 to $25 depending. While the hard protector can run you anywhere from as little as $8 all the way up to $12 depending where you're buying it from. So you kind of want to pick and choose your battle. If you go through my collection, it's a mix of the both of them. Reason being is, you know, you have the pops that I want to protect, that I want to make sure the ink doesn't run, doesn't smear, but aren't that valuable that I'm really worried about it. But I do want to make sure that they look good long term, so they go into the soft protectors. Then you have some of them that either hold more meaning, like All Might right here. That's one of my favorites, and he's a valuable pop. He's a well upward of $35 right now. So it's one of those things that the added investment is worth it, especially long term. Now, if it's not a money issue, the pop stacks. If you want to save some money, the soft stacks. It's definitely just a way to go across the board on the two. You know, it really is to each and of his own collectors. Well, there you go, guys. There's the Versus video. I hope it was informative. Hope it'll taught you something. I hope you guys enjoy it and know how to protect your pops. And if you have any questions, please feel free to message me. As always, guys, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And definitely let me know what you think of the Funko videos and Versus videos, pop stack videos, all of that. Feedback is greatly appreciated. And as always, guys, thanks and have a great night.